Okay, guys, for starters, I've rinsed out my sink really, really good and got it all ready to fill up for little baby Abel. I did the Dawn dish soap and just rinsed around the sink so I know that it's clean and ready to go from actually, doing dishes and stuff. So we're going to fill the sink up. I'm going to put the plug in it and we're going to fill it up with hot water. Let it get, just the hot I have turned on. And I'm going to let it get nice and hot here. My water never gets too hot here, but unless my hands are just used to it. I'm going to turn it over into here, and I'm going to use Dawn dish soap. You want to use just a Dawn. You don't want to use anything that's got any kind of chemicals, especially aloe. So for a dish soap, that's what you're going to use. Dawn is always the best. When I watched all these videos that I did, it was always the Dawn, and it was always the blue one. So we're going to go ahead and pour some dish soap in here, and I want, a nice amount. Because, like I said, he is a 6-year-old baby that's never been painted. So I do really want him to get very, very clean. And he is going to remain in here overnight. I'm going to do this overnight with him since he has never been painted in all those years. I'm sure he's got a lot of, oils to him from being touched and played with and different things and all that, dust and debris. So I'm going to leave, little Abel overnight. And it, remember, is a fake baby. So even though I don't like the idea of leaving him under the water like that, but yeah, I'm going to leave him in there overnight to make sure he gets completely clean. So just move the bubbles over here. And get it nice and filled up. I've got Abel here, so I'm just going to go ahead. Don't mind those couple dishes I have there on the side. We had dinner a little while ago. All right, I'm going to try to keep his little private area clean covered, while I put him in. And then we're just going to get him under the bubbles. I know you guys, you're thinking, oh my gosh, you're emerging a baby. But remember, he's just a fake silicone. He's a full body silicone little baby boy. And we're just going to make sure it emerges over his face so that he stays under the water. I want him under the water so that it gets his face, because his face still is kind of open there. The soap is over, but I want him immersed under the water. I know, poor little guy. Thank God he's not real. I'm super excited, though, to make him look real. This paint job's going to definitely make him look real. All right. So let's make sure he's emerged. Let's see here. It's hard to see because of the bubbles. But, yes, I can see he is emerged under all the way. Yep. Okay, so let's shut this off. And we'll let him soak overnight. I'll be right back, you guys. Good morning, everyone. We are now looking at Abel after floating in the water overnight. And we're going to look at this disgusting water. Now, he is a 6-year-old unpainted baby. And so I'm sure he's been through a lot. He's got a lot of oils, dust, and debris. Look at it floating over his body. It looks like little hairs, but that's actually oil. And the little particles, dust and debris and all that. I'll kind of go around to show you. Now this, I hadn't seen yesterday because of course the Dawn was in there still, the bubbles. And I couldn't see because I actually did change the water 2 times. When it would cool off, it still had suds in it, so I couldn't see, and I just changed it again. But yeah, it's just gross, you guys. After leaving him all night long, I've seen other videos, people showing how gross the water is. And it's so important. You are not able to paint a baby if they are dirty. The most important step to painting these babies is they need to be clean. So even an old baby can be painted. I've heard people say 10 years, 15 years, but they have to be clean, you guys. They will not take paint if they're dirty. And obviously he was a dirty baby. Look at by his hand there. Look at the oils. Oh my gosh, you guys, isn't that crazy? Wow. All right, so I'm going to empty out the water. I'm going to fill it back up with the blue Dawn dish soap. Remember, you want to use a Dawn dish soap with no chemicals in it. So no aloes, nothing in it. Just use the blue one. That's the best one. The one they show those commercials with the ducks. Yeah, that's the one you want. I showed you guys in the first video when I first put him in here. But I'm just going around to show you. It is disgusting, the oils that have come off this baby. But he has been handled for 6 years. So, all right, let's empty it. Fill it back up, let him sit in it another couple hours, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, hopefully without showing his parts, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. You want to go over him, and I definitely can feel a difference from yesterday. He feels more rubbery now, which is good. That means we're getting all the oils up. But you want to go over him all over. I'm just going to show you just the head, but go all over and really get your fingers in there and rub their silicone really, really good over his eyes, his nose, his hands, his mouth, you know, all the parts, really getting off everything. And then I'm going to fill the water back up like I said in the last video. But yes, I can definitely feel a difference now. He's much more clean. He's very rubbery feeling. So I did get everything off that I hope, but I'm going to do it one more time. Like I said, I'm going to rinse the sink out, rub all over him one more time. I'll just kind of show you doing his fingers. And I can just feel so much, you know, so much more rubber now. It doesn't feel the same as when I was doing it yesterday, rubbing it like that. But just go through, rub the baby real good. And like I said, if the water was that bad or it's really old, you'd want to do it a couple of times. Sorry for my dishes over there. But that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up, fill, you know, make sure the sink is rinsed really good, and then fill it back up. And then we'll let him soak, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, guys, now look. This was the last one I did for Abel. So I did 4 of these sinkfuls total. 1 was overnight, and I did show you that video of all the stuff floating around. And now it's nice and clear. I am covering up his parts so you guys don't see that, but I'm just going to go around and show you the water now. There still is a little bit of suds left. He's been in here for about 5 hours today, but look at it's nice and clean. My baby is spotless, so now he's going to take paint really well, or I hope so, because he is an older baby. Sometimes they don't, but I've got other steps to do to help with that. But look at that, you guys. It worked. Nothing else floating in the water. You see the scratches down in the sink there. That's just scratches. But the stuff floating on the top of the water, nothing there anymore. Amazing. I did a great job. So I'm glad that I did it all those times. So it was a total of 4 times or 5. I think it was just 4. But it was just like each time was about an hour. When the water cooled off, I filled it up again yesterday. But then I did it overnight, and that's what I showed you this morning. But look at it. This has been about 5 hours. The suds are gone where I can actually see the water and nothing. So he is a clean, clean baby. All right, you guys, let's go on to step number 2. All right, step 2, you guys. We emptied out the sink and cleaned it out, and now we're going to rinse them with super hot water, as hot as you can stand it on your hands. And while you're rinsing him, it's nice and hot now, you want to just rub his silicone. And I can definitely tell a difference in the silicone now, since I got all the oils and everything off of him. He feels more sticky, and that's what you want. That's how the paint is going to adhere to him. So that's why I'm definitely feeling it and making sure that it definitely feels different from, you know, like the very first bath I gave up to this 4th one. He definitely is more tacky feeling. So I love that. So I'm going to go all over. I'm keeping him covered. I need to do his entire face, body, hands, everything. I'm going to go inside his mouth to get all the residue off of the Dawn dish soap. Make sure that's the one you use, the blue one, so it doesn't have any, you know, like aloes or any kind of just chemicals. And you just want plain Dawn dish soap. Can't stress that enough. All right, so I'm just going to rinse them off really, really good. And then I will go on to the next step. Okay, step 3, you guys, and this is called a drag test. So you just take part of the silicone. I'll use the top of his head. I'm going to drag it across my arm. If he just goes straight across and doesn't pull, his silicone doesn't pull away, because you want to push it up against your arm and pull. If he pulls back the other way, then his silicone has gotten cleaned really good. So let's try to do the drag test. Put it up against my arm and I'll pull. And definitely, yep, he's pulling the opposite direction. The silicone doesn't want to slide. So that just means that he's nice and clean. That's called the drag test. I mean, you don't have to do that test, but I did see it on all the videos that I watched. I was told to do that. I also seen it on FuseFX, where I ordered the paints from. So yeah, definitely do the drag test, because it definitely helps to know if his silicone is nice and clean. All right, let's go on to step 4. All right, step 4. So now here's where we need the bag and that Tupperware container that I showed you guys in the very beginning when I showed you all the supplies I'm going to be using. And yeah, just a plastic bag from Target or Walmart or even a garbage bag would work, but mine are scented. So I just want to use the Target bag. And this is what I was told from Fuse FX and from Smooth On, just to use a plastic bag to lay the baby on. And then the container, the bottom of it, is what's going to go over the top of him. And then I'm going to slide it forward just a little bit so he has a little bit of an air hole, because he's just going to be drying from the water and you don't want dust to get on him. But if you completely sealed it with the cover for this step, then it's not going to dry as quickly. It is going to take a good hour or two to dry him fully. You just don't want to use a towel, because that's where you're going to get the fuzz, the debris, you know, everything on the baby. Even using a lint-free could still put, you know, dust on the baby and stuff. So let's do it the proper way that I was told from the places that I called, that I got the paint from and everything, and their movie prop companies that you order it from. They're, you know, they work with all kinds of silicone. So yeah, this is what I was told to do. So we're going to get little Abel, lay him on that bag face up, and we're going to put the cover on. I'll be right back. Okay, so he's laying on the plastic bag, and then we're going to go ahead and take the cover off. Now, when doing the drying part with the paint, then you could have the cover. But when drying it from the water, you do need a little bit of an air vent. So they said to put the cover over the top of him. And now I can show you, because you can't really see through this. I can show you that. And what you want to do is just slide forward just slightly on one little corner and give it a little air vent. You see that? Just a little tiny air vent, because it's water and you want him to be able to dry. That's why they said don't do the cover when drying the water on him versus the paint. You want a little air vent. So nothing really gets in there, but yet enough little air vent to dry his little body of the water versus like the paint. But you see, I don't have the other side open, just this side. That's all I need, is just a small little air vent like that, just to get water up inside of there. Now, he's definitely going to sit here for a good hour or longer and dry. So when we go on to step 5, I'll be back in. See you guys in a moment. Okay, so now the next step, after I've done the paint thinner or the acetone, I was told to use a t-shirt as a lint-free fabric to be able to wipe the baby down. But because, of course, everything still collects, you know, dust and fibers and all that, I'm actually going to wash this. I got this from Walmart for just $3.50. It's just a lady's small t-shirt. So I'm actually going to wash and dry this, but I'm going to wash it all by itself on a small load and dry it all by itself in the dryer, so that I would get rid of any lint that could be on it, even though it's a brand new shirt. But you can use a lint-free towel, but they just recommended, the place I talked to, the Fuse FX and the Smooth On, recommended to use a t-shirt. So that would work very well. So I'm going to wash this and dry it. Okay, so we're ready to get started. We've got little Abel laid out on a table here on a Target bag. You just want him on a plastic bag, and I have covered him with a paper towel to keep his private areas covered. And this is the t-shirt here just in the bag, so it's not getting any lint or anything on it. And you'll see as I go along how I do the steps. And then over here is my table set up of everything I need. Hopefully you guys see everything there. I did add in the mixing tool I told you when I mix this stuff. This one here, or I'm going to use these right here. These are kebab sticks. And I did get a bigger plate here to put over that when I put the solvent out, the paint thinner, so it's not so strong. And I did forget to tell you guys that I did need masks. They do recommend that you wear a mask when doing it, just to keep the area well ventilated. I do have the windows open, and I'm going to turn a fan on, so you'll probably hear that, you know, while I'm doing it. And then also the other thing I was talking about was that case. That's the case I got from Walmart. I did make it, you know, get a big enough one so little Octavia can fit in there. And that's just going to be, people can use it for the curing process, which I'm going to try to do it with the hair dryer. I have the hair dryer down there. I don't know if you can see it. It'll kind of move just down there, right there, all plugged in and ready to go. Or when the curing time, you can cure them in here, or just in between when you take a break and you're not going to be painting for a little while, you want to put them in here so that they'll stay dust free. So yeah, let's get it back on Abel here. That's all that. Again, I put a little list of everything you need because I did forget a few things. I just showed you now, but I did put that list in prior to this video here. So after that, then of course I went into step 1, step 2, step 3, and all of that. So now what we're going to do is, I think this is step, I do believe step 6. If not, it would be step 5. I'll just put it on here if I said it wrong. We're going to take little Abel with the t-shirt and the solvent, and I'm going to go outside with him and wipe him down, part of it wet, you know, on the t-shirt, and then the other part I'm going to kind of just damp him, you know, damp off some of the solvent. You don't have to wash it off, but that's going to help. I was told to help for the paint to go in since he is an older baby. So we're going to go ahead and do that step. So let me get that set up and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're on, I believe, step number 6. I will put it in here if it's not that. But right now we're going to do that paint thinner, that Novocs Glossy, and I'm going to use a makeup sponge. I'm going to use this one, and we're just going to pat it all over him everywhere to help so the paint soaks in. And then I will use this t-shirt here, the lint-free, just to kind of dab him off. And then, of course, I'm going to leave him out here just a little bit just to kind of get some of the smell off because it will remain on the baby. So, sorry that my face isn't in the videos here, you guys, but we're painting a baby, right? So, I'll just put this in my pocket, I guess. All right, so I'm going to get it on this. And it will make this fatten out, they said. So, we're just going to pour it like that. I got on that, and I'm just going to, just everywhere. We're just going to be doing this baby, and ooh, we cannot waste this. Oh my goodness. Okay, and I am wearing the gloves. What I'm gonna do is set this down. So you'll see me a little bit here. Get it all over this. All right, and then I'm trying to keep his parts covered, but you just wanna do it all over his body just to really get him ready to take in that silicone, okay? And like I said, I'm trying to keep him covered so you guys don't see any of his parts. And we're just gonna be getting it everywhere. It does dry pretty quick, they said. So that's what I'm gonna be doing, is just cleansing him down with this. You can even wipe it like that and, you know, be wiping all his parts of him so he gets completely clean. So I'm gonna finish that step up, and then I am going to go on to the next step of drying him. Okay, I've wiped him down with the Novocs, and now I'm going to use this t-shirt and just kind of, you know, get him somewhat dry. It dries pretty quick because it's a paint thinner, but you just want to make sure you just damp it down, you know. And I'm trying not to get him too much on me because, of course, he's clean, and if they're dirty at all, they're not going to take anything. So I'm trying very carefully not to really touch him up against me, against my sweatshirt here. But yeah, just give him a nice little dry, and then I'm just going to leave him set out here for a few minutes, and then we'll get on to step number 7. Okay guys, now we're on to the next step, which is going to be doing the base coat. And I hope you guys can hear me. I have a mask on and a fan going, so I'll try to talk loud. I'm only going to do small little sections, so I will do the head just to make sure that everything's working out good and that Abel is taking paint. And what you need to start with is the 109, and I'll put it on the screen here, but 109 base coat, and you need to mix it 50 parts. So same amount to this is what it means, 50-50. So the part A 109 base coat, you need to mix those two. So I'm going to put that out on this tile here, and I'm going to use that fan brush. So let's go ahead and put out the base coat first. And like I said, you don't need a lot. You want to start a little bit because it dries pretty quick. So about a dime size amount is what I'm doing. It's going to spread a little bit. And then we're going to do the part A, same amount. Put it out about the size of a dime size. Make sure they're mixing 50-50. Okay, and then we're going to mix them. I'm going to use my, one of those skewers. I just got to get one out. Bear with me here, guys. Okay, and I'm going to mix them really good. You want to mix them really good together. Now, it's hard to tell because they're both clear, but just mix them really good. So, we got some kids outside there. Hopefully, you can still hear me. But make sure you mix this really well, you guys. Mix them together really well so that the two, you know, combine together. You need them mixed together. And it's hard to tell, like I said, because it's clear, so it's hard to really tell if you're getting that 50-50 mix perfect, you know, from one side to the other, mixing the two. And like I said, I hope you can hear me. I have to have the windows open. I need ventilation while I'm doing this. And we've got kids out playing because we got good, really good weather, you guys. So, all right, just going to leave that over here. And we're going to go ahead and paint just the head. So I'm going to put a little bit on the brush here. And we're going to do just the head. That way I can see if it actually is working. So you want to do like a small patch test. And you want to do this really, really thin, a very, very thin coat. And what you would normally do after you do this, after you get it, and of course this is going to go all over the baby, but I just want to do a patch test here just to make sure that I mixed it right and that Abel will take paint. This is the first one, and it is paint. It's actually without the pigment in it. So that's pretty cool how you can do a test like that, but that's also getting the baby prepared to take the paints as well. So we're just going to do a small section here and just do a very thin coat. And then what I'm going to do is, if the whole baby was done here, you could cure it for 2 hours, I believe. Let me look at the thing here just to make sure I'm saying it right. Yeah, 2 hours curing time. So he would go in the bucket for 2 hours. Or you can force cure it with the hair dryer, and that's for 2 minutes, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and get to the hair dryer.